Naoya is a loudmouth loser who always was rejected by his crush. However, when he finally made her his girlfriend, baddies start confessing their love to him, forcing him to date all girls at the same time. In the beginning, Naoya sees it as a dream come true as he gets to date Saki, his lifelong crush. When Saki jokingly asks Naoya to promise not to cheat on her, he takes it too seriously and hugs her in front of everybody, assuring Saki that he will never do such a thing. Being flustered, she tells him to save it for when they're alone, but Naoya expresses how he's unable to do that as, after years of failed confessions, Saki finally accepts his feelings. After hearing this, Saki tells him that she will take those feelings head-on and walks away, but before leaving, Naoya tells her she's cute, which rizzes her up. Later, Naoya is being a chill guy on the rooftop, pondering about his relationship when another baddie pops up and tells Naoya that she loves him.
What?
The chick, Nagisa, asks Naoya what he thinks of her, and when he expresses how he thinks that she's cute, Nagisa tells him how she has been taking care of herself for months just to confess to him. To win his heart, Nagisa pulls out her homemade cooking, saying how she learned how to cook for him, and while he's impressed by her cooking, Naoya is more worried about her mental health, to which she assures him that she's fine. After seeing how he's attracted to her, Nagisa asks Naoya to be her lover. But when Naoya remembers that he's already dating Saki, he rejects her proposal to not cheat on Saki.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
Nagisa accepts the rejection gracefully and states that one day she will be back for his love, but after hearing this, Naoya gets rizzed up by her. He stops her from leaving and proposes that they go the Genghis Khan route by making Nagisa his second girlfriend. Nagisa is confused for a second, but when she sees how serious Naoya is, she accepts his proposal, wanting to be a part of his love. Meanwhile, Saki is talking with her friend Shino when Naoya pops up with Nagisa. When he presents Nagisa to Saki, she sees how adorable she is, and before they get to talk properly, Saki takes Nagisa to hang out. They sing, play basketball, and even eat Nagisa's cooking together, and when Naoya asks her what she thinks of Nagisa, Saki jokingly says how she would love to have Nagisa's babies. Naoya expresses the same thing, which confuses Saki for a second. Naoya asks Saki to let him date both her and Nagisa, but Saki punches him, refusing his proposal and claims that his dumb head is not Genghis Khan. Nagisa tries backing him up, saying that Naoya's long wood is enough for the both of them, and Naoya himself promises that he will make them both the happiest women on the planet if they both date him. After some more convincing, Saki folds to their promises and agrees to let Naoya date them both.
You did it, sir.
He did it. He did it.
To get them closer to each other, Naoya suggests that they both live with him, and while Saki hesitates, Nagisa quickly agrees. They gather at Naoya's place, and while Naoya and Nagisa plan to do chores, Saki admits to being a useless scrub, but the others don't mind and tell her to just relax. She lays around, eating dinner she didn't help in making and bathing in hot water she didn't prepare. Just then, Nagisa joins her in the shower, and while she's washing herself, Saki realizes how outclassed she is compared to Nagisa's thick plots. Suddenly, Nagisa assures Saki that she can sleep with Naoya first and declares that she won't bother their hot cardio sessions, but when Saki explains that they haven't even kissed yet, Nagisa feels somewhat happy but remorseful about it. While in the discussion of plots, Saki realizes something and confronts Naoya about his plans with Nagisa. She suspects that Naoya wants to clap her, but Naoya admits that not only does he want to clap them, but he wants to clap them both at the same time. Saki starts tweaking, not wanting Naoya to do those things with them both, so Naoya declares that for their love to prosper, he promises not to clap them. While Saki is glad to hear that initially, she realizes something and asks Naoya if that means he won't clap her as well. When Naoya says yes, she panics as she actually wants him to clap her, and Naoya realizes how disappointed she is with his decision and apologizes, saying that he will clap her one day. Afterward, Saki realizes that with Nagisa's big melons as a rival, her relationship with Naoya will have a lot of issues. Saki tries to convince Nagisa to reject Naoya's desires, but to her surprise, Nagisa is an even bigger degenerate who wants to pipe, which makes Saki realize how she's in a losing battle if Nagisa ever decides to take Naoya for herself. When they step out of the bathroom, they see 3 futons that Naoya has prepared, which surprises them, and Saki suspects that Naoya will be clapping either one of them or both of them. Naoya assures them that he won't be doing anything and states that he's willing to get his willy chooped if he's lying, which the girls tell him not to do. However, what Saki worries more about is that Nagisa might make the first move, as she's someone who's more feral than Naoya, so Saki plans to watch over them that night. While pretending to sleep, Saki hears how Nagisa scoots over to join Naoya and his Footin to not be lonely. The two of them start making happy noises, with Naoya saying how soft Nagisa feels and how Nagisa tells Naoya that it feels good. But Saki refuses to listen to more of this degenerate BS, so she confronts them for putting it in. However, when she looks at them, she realizes that they are only holding hands, and while the two are confused about what Saki is doing, she pretends to sleep in Naoya's Footin as well, saying how she is also lonely by herself. In the early morning, Nagisa wakes up before the others to start on breakfast, and while thinking about this crazy three-way relationship she's in, she realizes that she needs to be Naoya's favorite, or she will be abandoned when Saki decides that she has had enough of Naoya dating two girls at once. She has an idea to sneak through both of their phones to know what they're into, but when she looks inside Saki's phone, all she can find is how curious Saki is with the best techniques a girl like her can do to clap her man. However, among the degeneracy in Saki's browser, she finds Saki's tweets, and inside she sees how Saki actually considers Nagisa to be a good girl whom Saki wants to befriend. Before she gets to see Naoya's phone, Naoya wakes up and sees her with Saki's phone in her hand. Suddenly, Saki herself wakes up, and when she sees her phone in Nagisa's hand, Naoya quickly covers for her, saying that he is the one snooping through her phone. Saki recalls what her browser history contains and smacks Naoya out cold before going back to sleep, wanting to forget what just happened. Nagisa apologizes to Naoya for taking the blame, but he tells her that it's the least he can do while dating two girls at once. The next morning, while having breakfast, Saki doesn't remember anything that happened the night before, and she takes an interest in what Nagisa is like. They find out that Nagisa is in the same class as them, which confuses them because they have never seen her, and Nagisa explains that because she has been training to date Naoya, she never went to school. Nagisa realizes how screwed in the head she is, but before she gets to cover up, Naoya pulls out a table and decides that they will be spending the day helping Nagisa catch up with her studies. They study together, and while Saki easily solves the math problems in front of her, Nagisa doesn't understand a lick of what she's seeing. Not wanting to look stupid, she runs away to hide in the bathroom. There, she uses her smartphone to solve the math problem. After 30 minutes, the others get worried for her and think that she might be sick, so they bang on the door, asking if they need to call an ambulance. Nagisa doesn't want Naoya to see her as stupid, which she is, and claims that she's constipated, which shuts them both and makes them leave her alone. Moments later, she manages to find the answer, so she proudly answers the math problem in front of the others, but while she's happy, they tell her that she answers wrong like a dummy. However, being a Chad, Naoya assures Nagisa that he will spend as long as it takes to teach her, and while it cheers her up, Nagisa hides back in the bathroom for 3 more hours. The next morning, they prepare to go to school, but before leaving, Saki makes a point for them to hide their relationship by acting like strangers to Nagisa. Naoya refuses as he knows that Nagisa has no friends after missing months of school, but Saki smacks his head, and Nagisa assures them that she will be okay alone. However, when they get to class, everyone questions who this unknown baddie is, and while Saki tries her best to hold herself from talking to her, Naoya refuses to wait and talk to her. They act awkwardly around each other, but after seeing how sad Nagisa looks, Naoya refuses to hide it anymore. However, before he gets to tell everyone that he's dating 2 baddies at the same time, Saki stops all his attempts by force and drags him away to the roof. They argue about what to do, and while Naoya feels bad, Saki doesn't want their reputation to be ruined and for people to think that Naoya is a 2-timing scrub whose brain is between his legs. Just then, Nagisa pops up, assuring them that she will be okay being ignored and that she's more than happy just to be with them at home. Suddenly, she pulls out 3 homemade lunches for all 3 of them. But while she tells the 2 of them to eat together as a couple, she tells them that she will eat alone in the bathroom so nobody will suspect them. However, after seeing how sweet and understanding she is, they decide to eat lunch together and hang out together in secret from now on. They start by eating where no one can see them, and while Nagisa thinks that she should just stay strangers with them at school, the others want her to be together with them. They get too excited, which gets the school staff's attention, so they have to make a run for it to somewhere else. Nagisa has a suggestion, and she brings them to the yard restroom, which smells like your stinking mother so much that Saki refuses to eat in it. So Nagisa takes them behind the restroom building instead, but it still stinks of your mother, and Saki demands another place. Then, Nagisa takes them to a cleaner bathroom, but Saki refuses to eat there as it's the women's restroom. She pushes Naoya out to avoid suspicion, but when they get outside, a couple of students clock them and gossip about how Saki probably just got her buns clapped in the restroom. Afterward, while discussing locations, Naoya suggests the gym storage room, which both girls see as perfect as no one goes there. Nagisa still suggests other more secluded toilets, but when Saki shows her frustration towards her stinky suggestions, Nagisa apologizes and expresses just how much she doesn't want them to get caught, even though it's due to her own selfishness. Naoya assures her that she's not selfish and that being selfish is okay in this relationship, as he will be there for her to solve any issues she has. Then they reach the storage room, and because it's locked, Naoya tries to go one-punch man on it, only to realize he's Yamcha. They enter through the window, and after propping the room to make it comfortable for them to hide, they gather around in the corner of the room. To give reassurance, Naoya tells Nagisa that their three-way relationship is caused by his own selfishness, and he promises that he will fight for it at all costs. For the next few days, they eat together, accompanied by Nagisa's cooking, and when Saki compliments Nagisa, she expresses just how much she wants to make Naoya happy. Nagisa doubles her statement, saying how she's willing to do any work, which gets Saki to imagine her as an escort. Saki compliments Nagisa for how much she's willing to work hard for Naoya, but at that moment, she realizes that unlike Nagisa, who has big melons and is a hard worker, Saki is a lazy scrub who has cardboard on her torso. She imagines how Naoya chooses Nagisa over her, and it causes Saki to run away, not wanting to lose Naoya. Then she thinks about what she can do for Naoya, but she realizes all she can do is tickle his pickle. So she rushes home to ask Naoya directly what he wants her to do. Instead, Naoya turns it into what he can do for her, and before Saki gets to stop him, Naoya spoils her with cake, which rizzes her up. However, she quickly gets herself back together and goes shopping for food to cook for the other, but she gets distracted by candies, and when she buys them, she realizes she has folded again. She decides to cook just a simple curry, but being the lazy scrub, she leaves it to cook for 3 hours while she is lazing around watching a streamer with big melons. When she realizes that the curry has burned, the others try to convince her that it will taste good, but she's already depressed. That night, Saki struggles to sleep, thinking about how Naoya will leave her for Nagisa and her massive melons, but out of desperation, she goes to his room to give him the one thing she can. While Naoya is surprised by her presence, she puts his hand on her melons, telling him not to hold back, but to her surprise, Naoya rejects her advances, saying how it's unfair to leave out Nagisa from plot development. Saki takes it the wrong way, thinking Naoya doesn't like her tiny melons compared to Nagisa's, but before Naoya gets to explain, Saki runs to her bedroom before leaving to go back to her house, which is next door. Nagisa wakes up after hearing the chaos, and when Naoya explains what happened, Nagisa sees a chance to win him over while being alone with him. However, she offers her help to him instead. But Naoya intends to spend the whole night writing love letters for Saki. The next morning, Naoya screams Saki's name next door, and when Saki pops up, he throws his hundreds of love letters to her, but when he throws them back as rejection, he starts reading them, one by one, which ends with him tiring out. He spends the whole day trying to win Saki over using her favorite games, her favorite cakes from fancy stores, and even cute animal videos that he knows Saki likes, but with each failure, Naoya grows more fatigued. Out of desperation, he even shows her his private Twitter account filled with girls with different sized melons to get rid of her insecurities, but she declines all of them. After seeing Naoya struggle to stand up, Nagisa has enough and asks if she alone is not good enough for him. When Naoya tells Nagisa how he wants to be fair to the both of them and refuses to give up on either of them, it suddenly reminds Nagisa of the first time she saw him, and she falls in love all over again. Suddenly, Nagisa puts his hands on her milky melons, and when it causes Saki to get jealous, she jumps back to his house, which gives Naoya a chance to talk to her. Naoya asks Saki why she left them, and she expresses how she feels that Nagisa is a better lover than her from how she's a better cook, has better head game, and is packing the fatter melons compared to what Saki is packing. Saki feels it's better if she leaves this three-way relationship, but Naoya stops her and uses his godlike Riz, but when the Riz is useless, Saki punches him out cold. She expresses how she wants to do something for Naoya after everything he did for her, but while Naoya doesn't understand her sentiment, Nagisa does. She backs up Saki's request, stating that as his girlfriends, they want to do things for him to make him love them even more. Both girls stand by what they believe when they say that as his girlfriends, he has a right to ask things from them without him having to feel unworthy, as the three of them are equals. After hearing that, Noe realizes how wrong his mindset is for thinking that he doesn't deserve happiness before they are happy, so he starts apologizing and begs them to hit him. Saki does what he says and smacks him, saying how she's following his orders. Noe tells him that there are more things he wants to see them do, from smiling more to an intense 3-person clapping session. But what he wants most is for them to live together in harmony. Saki shyfully agrees to what he asks from her, but still claims that Nagisa is her rival, to which Nagisa gladly accepts. That night, the two girls have dinner to celebrate Saki's return, and when Saki asks about Noe's whereabouts, Nagisa reveals that he's asleep after the whole day of fatigue. While they are rivals, Nagisa expresses how she wants to befriend Saki. And while she's hesitant at first, she folds after seeing her cute puppy eyes that could make any man pregnant. Saki invites Nagisa to play video games with her, and when she shows Nagisa the game she's playing, Nagisa informs her that she once also played that game. Nagisa talks about how she has played the game for over 1,000 hours, but once they start playing, Nagisa proves to be trash as she gets her head carded every time, leaving Saki having to carry this trash team. However, it only motivates Saki more to get their first win, and when they find a player that is AFK in the game, she encourages Nagisa to attack from behind, but she somehow slips, which ends up with Saki getting yeeted to death. Instead of being upset, Saki laughs at their gaming session and feels glad that while Nagisa has fat melons, she has other flaws as well. Just then, Noe wakes up from his sleep, wanting to join them, and Nagisa informs them how she's been watching gaming tutorials from Milika, a streamer who gets views because of her milky melons. While watching the stream, Noe notices that on Milika's background, she has the same uniform as theirs. The next day, while they are eating lunch in the storage room, Nagisa notices that Milika has changed her previous video thumbnail into one that doesn't have her school uniform. Suddenly, a blonde baddie enters the storage room from the window and clocks the three of them. While the girls try to find an excuse, Noe and his smooth brain stupidly admit that the three of them are dating, and when the blonde girl hears this, she threatens to reveal their secret. While Saki starts begging her not to do it, Noe offers her his life savings for her not to say anything, but she declines, saying how she's making more money weekly than his whole life savings. Noe takes it the wrong way, suspecting that she has been earning money by being a rental. Just then, Nagisa realizes that the big melon blondie is Milika, the gamer. While the blondie is panicking, Nagisa pulls out proof that she is indeed Milika, and being under pressure, the blonde girl accidentally admits the truth that she is Milika. After hearing this, Saki sees her chance to reverse blackmail Milika, saying how she can have revenge by exposing Milika to the world. However, Saki assures her that they won't tell anyone about her true identity, and instead, for them to keep each other's secrets. It surprises Milika to see that these three weirdos are actually good people, but she has an even bigger idea, and proposes that she becomes Noe's third girlfriend to add a number to his harem. While Milika's declaration confuses them at first, Nagisa realizes that the only reason why Milika wants to date Noe is so he will protect her from stalkers, and while Milika tries to rebuke that statement, the group can see that Nagisa is spot on. Milika presents herself to Noe, telling him to enjoy her smoother-than-butter legs and sweet melons as her boyfriend. But while Noe acknowledges how pretty she is, which upsets the girl, he surprises all of them when he declines Milika's proposal. He declares that what he wants is to make his two girlfriends happy, and it destroys Milika's ego so much that she decides to show him her melons. She tells him that he can squeeze them if he wants, but Noe assures her that the only melons he wants to squeeze are the ones that belong to the girls he loves. It leaves Milika defeated, so the trio leaves the storage room, but as they leave, they talk about dinner, which makes Milika realize that they all live together. Before they get to run away, Milika yeets Noe to the floor and declares that she will start living with them so Noe can see just how much of a catch she really is before running away with her ego destroyed. The next day, Noe and Saki arrive home when they see Nagisa staring outside. When they go look, they see a tent in their garden, and from the tent comes Milika, who manages to stalk them to know where they live. She declares that she will make Noe fall for her by staying there. But the trio suspects that it will be difficult for Milika to stay for a long time. That night, Milika is freezing inside her tent due to the temperature. But when Noe asks her to go home, she refuses and starts buying stuff from Amazon to ensure she will be able to live in the tent. To counter the cold, She works out to get body heat and film it so she can post her workouts to her audience and get more money. For the whole night, she does everything she can to keep herself warm, from doing squats to eating hot noodles. When morning comes, her delivery arrives, and Milica proudly sets up her new base. She tries to show Naoya just how serious she really is, but instead of being impressed, Naoya tells her that she stinks like your fat mom, which makes her self-conscious. Using her resource, she creates a homemade shower and props it in front of her tent so she can shower, which impresses Naoya with how resilient she is. That night, Saki pitches an idea to Nagisa, saying they need to get Naoya's attention back to them instead of stressing about Milica. Then, while Naoya is bathing by himself, the two baddies come in wearing swimsuits, which act as plot armor to their plots, and when Naoya asks them why they're doing this, they explain that they need to do this to prevent Milica's milky melons from hypnotizing him. Suddenly, Nagisa slips, which ends with her melons on Naoya's face, and while she pulls back embarrassed, she expresses how she wants for Naoya to enjoy that. Refusing to fall behind, Saki tries her own swinging technique, but because she's packing cardboards, Naoya doesn't even get a sniff. However, it causes her swimsuit to slip, and when she asks Naoya if he saw, he admits that he did. Naoya quickly brings their focus back on how to handle Milica, but Nagisa calls him out for it. She tells Naoya that while they are focusing on Milica, she still wants Naoya to put his attention on his actual lovers, and it reminds Naoya of his actual priorities, which is his harem. He does what they ask and starts staring daggers at them, starting with Nagisa's plots, but his glare causes Nagisa's kitty to feel warm and fuzzy. The next morning, Milica is making barbecue when Naoya has enough and asks her once again to leave. Milica refuses his request, stating that she won't stop until he loves her, and while he tries to reason with her, Milica threatens to burn his baby jewels with hot coal if he tries anything to kick her out. Later, Naoya and the girls discuss a plan to yeet Milica back home, but Saki and Nagisa warn him that Milica might do something dangerous. Just then, Milica leaves her post to run to the convenience store so she can use their bathroom, and Naoya sees his chance, so he calls a pickup company to help him dispose of Milica's stuff while she's not there. However, Saki stops his phone call, and while the girls try to calm him down, Naoya warns them that, as a man in a three-way relationship, he's worried that Milica's rees might make him fall in love with her and make this into a four-way relationship. While the girls express their full trust for Naoya to not fall for Milica, he himself doesn't have the confidence in himself to not fold for Milica and her unbelievable plots. Just then, Saki holds his arm and puts him in an arm bar, asking him what's wrong with his dumb head, and he gives her a reality check of how he easily added Nagisa as his lover, even though he already had Saki at the start, which shows his inability to not fall in love. Naoya admits that after seeing how hardworking and amazing Milica is, it's easy for any melon-loving man to fall in love, but because he wants to only love the two of them, he needs to get rid of Milica before it's too late. Suddenly, Saki karate chops his head and returns his phone back so he can continue his call with the pickup company. Afterward, they get the news that the pickup company is almost there, so Naoya orders the girls to continue packing Milica's junk while he distracts her. On her way back, Naoya tries stopping Milica, saying how they need to talk, but she refuses to do so and keeps walking back to her tent. On their way there, Naoya stupidly slips by saying he's buying time, and after hearing this, Milica kicks his knee before quickly running back. When she spots her stuff on the pickup truck, she tries to get it back, but Naoya grabs her from behind to stop her and tells the others to continue packing. Out of desperation, Milica screams how Naoya is being diddied to get him to stop, but even with the whole neighborhood around them noticing, Naoya doesn't care about being called Diddy and refuses to let go. Suddenly, Milica steps on his foot to get free, but Naoya grabs his leg to make her fall to the ground. Milica demands that Naoya pay her 1,000,000 yen for her stuff, hoping for him to give up, but to her surprise, he agrees to do it and get a part-time job as long as Milica agrees to stay away from him. Just then, the pickup company finishes its job and hands them the money for Milica's stuff, leaving her with her stuff on the truck. It frustrates Milica to see Naoya go to such lengths for his two lovers, and with full conviction, Naoya tells Milica that he's willing to do anything for them, which rizzes her up and gets her kitty purring. Then, Naoya hands her an agreement letter, promising that she will be paid for her stuff if she stays away from him. But to everyone's surprise, Milica tears it apart. She wraps her arms around Naoya, declaring that she will never go back home, and expresses how she doesn't like that Naoya is paying her to stay away. Suddenly, Milica's father pulls up after looking for her, demanding an explanation. When he hears that Milica has been staying at Naoya's place, he gets suspicious of him. But Naoya assures him that he already has 2 girlfriends on his plate, and he's not interested in her daughter. Surprisingly, the father gets upset when he hears this, saying how his daughter is a busty baddie that any man would love to clap, and Naoya corrects him. He expresses how he actually thinks Milica is an amazing and strong person who's able to get thousands of subscribers on OnlyFans. But when the father hears that, he gets furious. The father quickly opens OnlyFans to see every man's nightmare, his daughter showcasing her plots for sweaty neckbeards for $3 a month, and he gets furious at Milica for this. The father tries to take Milica back home, but Milica fights back and smacks her own father's head. The father starts crying and takes her phone, saying that she will no longer post on OnlyFans and that he will delete her whole channel. However, before he does it, Naoya stops him from doing it and expresses how Milica is such an amazing, hard-working OnlyFans model who should be treated like a queen. When the father tries to fight back, Naoya holds Milica in his hands, saying how he will protect her. Naoya's unfathomably godly Riz manages to get Milica to fall for him, and she suddenly agrees to go home, saying how she needs to think. But as she's walking away, she stares at Naoya with eyes that are screaming that she's in love with him. That night, Saki and Nagisa discuss how Milica has fallen for Naoya, but since Naoya hasn't realized it yet, Saki tries to make a plan so they can go against Milica. Later, Saki goes back to her house next door to pick up some fresh clothes, and when her mom sees her, she asks if Saki and Naoya have already done the dirty. When Saki tells her that they haven't, it surprises the mother and makes her think that Naoya doesn't have the juice for women. While Saki feels down, her mother hypes her up, saying how her daughter's slim and tender body can make any man squirm, including Naoya, which gives the mother an idea. Later that night, after Saki ensures that Nagisa is sleeping, she presents herself to Naoya in a bunny girl outfit for some plot development. When she sees how much Naoya likes her outfit, she asks if he wants to push her down, but when he says that he doesn't, Saki gets pissed and pushes him down instead. She demands him to get his pipe flowing, but during this, her top almost falls off, so Naoya quickly grabs her melons to stop it from falling. She takes it a different way and punches him, but when she leaves for her room, she feels happy. The next morning, her happiness stays with her after what happened the other night, and Nagisa notices it. When she's in the bathroom, Nagisa clocks the bunny outfit Saki wore, which makes her wonder what happened the night before while she was asleep. She confronts Naoya about it, asking him if he enjoyed his experience last night, and while he tells her that he does, he assures Nagisa that he didn't do anything to Saki. The next moment, Nagisa pops up in a maid outfit out of jealousy, and it completely takes Naoya off guard. She asks him what he thinks of her costume, and without hesitation, Naoya asks her to call him master. When she does call him master, it awakens something in Naoya that he once found while watching a Lana Rhoades video, and it pleases Nagisa to see he's enjoying her effort. She serves him tea and massages him, and when she tells Naoya that she is willing to do anything for her master, it gives him an idea. Naoya asks Nagisa to cosplay as a maid and treat him as her master once a week, which makes Nagisa happy. She asks Naoya to pat her head, and when he does it, they both get so happy they start tweaking together. At dinner, Nagisa slips up calling Naoya her master in front of Saki, and while they're both panicking, Saki brushes it off, thinking that she misheard. The next day, Milica is waiting for Naoya in front of his classroom, while the dudes around her are salivating, seeing her plots. Milica ponders about her feelings for Naoya after he saved her from her dad, refusing to believe that she is in love with this two-timing loser. Just then, Saki and the others clock her, but when she calls her Milica, she stops Saki and tells her to call her by her real name, Rika. Saki asks Rika if she has feelings for Naoya, and while she denies her accusation, she gets flustered when Naoya himself pops up beside her. Rika asks Naoya to talk to her privately on the roof, and while Saki shows her objection, Naoya assures her that he will be fine, even against Rika's melons. When they get on the roof, Naoya apologizes for embarrassing her by rejecting her in his harem and offers her to take dirty pictures of him for the internet, but instead of being disgusted, Rika gets rizzed up by his sincerity. Naoya gets aggressive, saying how he can't date her and make it a four-way relationship, even though she's cute and it causes critical damage to Rika. She then turns the tide of the conversation to thank Naoya for saving her from her dad. She expresses how, for most of her life, she has been facing immense difficulties, but when she found OnlyFans, she became free, and to see Naoya save that for her, she appreciated him. When Naoya shows how glad he is that he saved her account, Rika's heartstrings got pulled and she runs away, not being able to contain his rees. When she gets far enough, she tells herself how much she loves Naoya, but unbeknownst to her, Saki is right behind her, pissed by what she just heard coming from her mouth. The next day, while Naoya is in class, Rika pulls up, wanting to talk to him, but with Saki being there, she tells Rika to stay away from Naoya. It gets the classmates' attention, so one of them asks Naoya what his relationship is with Rika. But while Naoya can't answer him, Rika pushes her melons into Naoya and tells the class that she is Naoya's other baby mama. When Saki sees just how much jiggle physics Rika has, she pushes her milkers away from Naoya and tells Rika that her upper body BBEL will not get involved between her and Naoya. Rika reminds her that she's already in a two-timing relationship with Nagisa involved, which pisses off Saki, and Rika tells Saki that she will have plenty more opportunities to get close to Naoya. Saki tells Naoya to stay by her side to prevent this, but Naoya sees this as Saki feeling lonely due to the two-timing relationship, so he hugs her tight, saying how he will stick by her, which surprises everyone. Saki takes this chance to make Rika jealous, saying how he can even stick it inside her, which makes Rika run away in jealousy. When the class starts, Naoya refuses to let Saki off his lap, but when the teacher asks him what he's doing, he simply explains how he likes cheeks on his weenie, which the teacher fully relates to. However, when Naoya's eraser falls, he tries to grab it but accidentally touches Saki's melon, causing her to make happy noises that get the whole class's attention. Later, the class is preparing for gym class, and when Rika shows up for Naoya, Saki takes her clothes and drags Naoya away from Rika's hands, leaving Nagisa worried. She locks Naoya and herself inside an empty room and states that she will change her clothes while Naoya is in front of her. While Rika is trying to get inside, her phone rings, and when she sees what it contains, she gets so scared that she leaves them alone. Meanwhile, Naoya thinks that he should leave out of respect, but Saki begs him not to leave. However, he sees her underwear, and Saki quickly covers herself up. Just then, Saki gets a text from Nagisa, saying how she threatened to expose Rika if she didn't leave them alone, giving them an opening to get out of there. Back home, Saki expresses how weird it was for Naoya to hug her in class, but instead of getting the ick, Nagisa confesses how she, deep down, would love to get hugged by Naoya like that. Just then, Naoya pops up, and Saki snitches on Nagisa, saying how she too would like to be embraced. Nagisa initially declines out of fear that Saki will get jealous, and while Saki knows she will get jealous, she tells Nagisa to embrace Naoya. However, when she's about to leave the two of them, Naoya asks Saki to stay and watch him hug Nagisa, saying how he feels anxious if she's not looking. Then, when Naoya hugs Nagisa while Saki watches, Nagisa starts releasing joyful, happy noises. While Saki continues watching, instead of getting angry, she gets turned on and awakens her kink of getting cucked. While Saki is closing her eyes, Nagisa falls to her knees, and when Naoya goes to help her, Saki opens her eyes. She imagines Naoya clapping Nagisa good while she watches, which turns her on even more. However, Saki has enough and quickly wakes herself up so she can punch Naoya and start crying. The next morning, Rika pops up to join Naoya and Saki on their walk back home. She starts asking questions about Naoya and his grades, inviting him to study together. However, when Saki tells her how much of an imbecile Naoya is with his horrible grades, instead of being sad, she gets rizzed up, thinking how much of a hard worker Naoya is. Back home, Naoya suddenly asks the girls about his suspicion of whether Rika has feelings for him. The girls realize they're screwed, so Saki pulls Nagisa aside to have an emergency meeting, and they plan to ensure that Naoya doesn't know that Rika has feelings for him. Saki lies by saying that Naoya is full of himself and that a big melon baddie like Rika would never want to date him, considering how his clapped face was simply lucky to be able to bag both her and Nagisa. Saki adds another lie, saying how Rika is just in heat, and that girls with big melons tend to want to clap dudes whenever they get a chance. Hearing this, Naoya goes to Nagisa, telling her that if she gets in heat, she has to tell him, and while she doesn't want to continue the lie, she has no choice but to tell Naoya that she will tell him if she wants a man's glizzy. The next morning, Rika visits Naoya again, but after what Saki told him, Naoya apologizes to Rika, saying how sorry he is for thinking that a girl like her would really like him. It causes Rika to fold so much that she drags Naoya away to run away with her. She takes Naoya to the rooftop, and when she looks back, she sees Saki behind them and Nagisa peeking through the door. Being exposed, Rika questions how Naoya knows her feelings for him, and when she asks, Naoya explains how he notices her being flustered all the time she's with him. He once again apologizes for mistakenly thinking that she likes him, but that gets Rika's attention, so she asks him what he means by mistakenly. When Naoya reveals what Saki told him, Rika gets furious, stating that she's not in heat and that she has a cold, but Saki continues protecting her lies, saying how Rika is just ashamed of being in heat. Naoya treats Rika nicely, but still treats her like she's in heat, which pisses her off, so Rika asks Naoya what he would do if she really likes him. Naoya expresses how, as a two-timing Chad, his relationship is already difficult enough, and that to add a third baby mama, his tank doesn't have enough juice, so he chooses to reject Rika for his relationship's sake. When Rika hears that, she pushes them all inside and starts going bananas, saying how she refuses to back down from her feelings for Naoya. Moments later, Rika barges into Naoya's classroom again, and to everyone's shock, she declares to Naoya that she likes him. When Naoya shows that he's still in disbelief at her proposal, Rika once again tells Naoya that she likes him, but when his dumb head still can't understand her, Rika drags him with her again, and the girls follow them. Inside the gym storage room, Rika tells Naoya that she intends to keep confessing to him until he falls for her, which he still doesn't understand. Naoya asks Rika what she likes about him, and she tells him that she saw him as attractive when he defended her from her father. Naoya suddenly bows down to ask Rika to give up on him, but she elbows his head and tells him that she can't get him off her mind. After some more back and forth, Rika pulls out her trump card and kisses in front of his two girlfriends. Rika tells him that one day she will have him date only her and no one else before running away from the storage room, but unbeknownst to them, Saki's best friend, Shino, is listening in on them the whole time. Later, the trio is traumatized after what Rika just did to Naoya, and the girls express how they just got cooked by a skank who got only fans who managed to kiss their baby daddy before them. To make it even, Naoya offers to kiss them both, and Saki smacks his head with both girls agreeing that neither of them is in the mood to kiss him. Saki explains that if Naoya wants to kiss them, he has to pick the right time, which is when he sees them as so beautiful that he can't help but kiss them. Naoya takes a second to think about what she said before bowing his head and apologizing for being inconsiderate with their feelings. He expresses how he wants to grow closer to them, and while his declaration rizzes them both, Saki suggests that they go on a date to a hot spring together, which they all agree on. The next day, the trio heads to the mall to buy items for their hot spring trip. After what happened, Saki makes a deal with Nagisa that during the trip, there will be no kissing and that they should focus on bonding their relationship, but unbeknownst to them, Rika is stalking them. While buying stuff, Nagisa starts thinking about how, before what Saki said, she actually wanted to kiss Naoya during this trip. When Nagisa starts imagining being able to kiss Naoya, she gets tempted to do it, and when she sees some candies for her breath, she knows she has to get them just in case. However, when she reaches for it, Saki pops up, also reaching for the same thing, and they both realize exactly what their plan is. On her knees, Saki confesses that she's planning to kiss Naoya behind Nagisa's back. However, Nagisa understands her feelings as she is the first girlfriend, so Nagisa declares that during the trip, she will help Saki kiss Naoya. Then they shop for clothes for Saki to seduce Naoya on their trip, and when Nagisa picks the most boring clothes for herself, she informs Saki that she does so that Saki will look better than her. When Nagisa picks clothes for Saki, she chooses the ones that will get Naoya to cream in an instant. But then Naoya pops up and expresses his disagreement with her choice. Afterward, while walking home, Saki asks Nagisa if she's sure she wants to let her take the first kiss, and when Nagisa gives her approval, Saki makes it her mission to kiss Naoya on the trip. While stalking them, Rika overhears about their hot spring trip and plans to join them. That night, Saki's friend Shino calls Saki to ask her about the hot springs location, and when Saki tells her, Shino makes it her mission to uncover the truth about Saki's three-way relationship. On their journey there, Naoya expresses his gratitude to them for not ringing up Milika's kiss to him, and he declares loudly that he will show them just how big his love is for them. While embarrassed with all the attention, the girls tell him how they love him as well, but that gives Naoya an idea. When they reach the station, he tells them his idea to get closer, and that is by holding hands, not caring about what other people think. And when they ask if he's sure, he tells them that what happens in the hot spring stays in the hot spring. During their journey, they continue holding hands, holding back their embarrassment, with Naoya convincing them that holding hands is for the best. They overhear a couple talking about how the guys are going to lay the pipe, and while Naoya suspects that Saki might want that, she assures him that what she wants is a kiss. Naoya feels relieved, saying how they have made a promise never to do it. But deep down, Saki feels sad that she made that promise. When they arrive at the resort, Rika pops out and declares Naoya for herself, saying how she refuses to miss out on this trip. Just then, Shino pops out, which surprises everyone, and she asks Saki if Naoya is two-timing her. Not knowing what to do, Nagisa makes an excuse, saying that she's on this trip with Rika, and when Rika tries to deny it, Nagisa threatens to expose her, which forces her to continue her lie. They all escape from Shino before she gets to ask questions, and when Naoya and Saki get to their room, Nagisa sends him a text, saying that she will keep an eye on Rika while Saki and Naoya enjoy their trip. Meanwhile, Rika and Nagisa are enjoying the hot spring buns out when suddenly, Naoya pops up to take Nagisa back with him. He tries to convince her to come, saying how the trip is for the three of them, but remembering her promise to Saki, Nagisa pushes him away and locks the door to get Naoya away from her. Nagisa assures him that she's fine, but when she leaves, Rika pulls Naoya into the hot spring, and with her melons on display, she tells Naoya that she will make him bust a fat one while she has the chance. Naoya begs Rika to let him chase down Nagisa, but she rejects him, saying how she wants to make him obsessed. Out of curiosity, Rika asks him how her kiss was, and to her surprise, Naoya expresses how he was simply surprised and nothing more. It makes Rika feel worthless for her first kiss to be wasted like that, so she begs him to have a conversation to get to know her better, promising that she won't do anything. When Naoya tries to walk away, Rika pleads with him for a chance, and without any choice, Naoya agrees to give her 5 minutes to talk. Rika starts her timer and asks Naoya a bunch of questions, starting from his full name, likes and dislikes, and how many inches he's packing, to which Naoya answers 12, thinking it's his bicep size. When they talk about what they do in their spare time, Naoya tells her how much he enjoys watching her OnlyFans videos, and it makes her fold, realizing that the guy he likes loves watching her. Just then, the timer is up, and when Rika gets up, her towel falls off, showcasing why she's OnlyFans' next big thing. Naoya quickly leaves to get to Nagisa, but on the railings, he slips and falls into Shino's hot bath, with her being there only in a towel. Seeing the chance to ask, Shino interrogates Naoya about his three-way relationship. Naoya wonders why Shino cares so much about who Saki's dating, and she expresses that since Saki is her best friend, she wants what's best for her, which Naoya understands. Shino then lists issues that come with three-way relationships, starting from it being illegal to Naoya's inability to clap both girls evenly. Shino demands him to confess the truth about his relationship, but Naoya tries to climb and run away. Shino pulls him down from climbing by pulling on his pants, and it causes her towel to slip and reveal his sausage. The next moment, Shino ends up on top of him, and just then, the girlfriends walk in, shocked at what they see. While Shino tries to explain herself, Saki is in pain seeing her best friend taking her man from her, and to make things worse, Naoya hugs Shino close, saying how he can see everything. Suddenly, Nagisa takes photos of Shino on top of Naoya and blackmails her to stop bothering them. After Shino runs away, Saki is relieved to see that Naoya is actually wearing underwear and that his weenie is nowhere near Shino. Nagisa informs them that she will go back to Rika's room to avoid suspicion, and while Naoya and Saki want her to come back with them, Nagisa refuses to do so. Naoya tries pleading even harder with his pants off, begging Nagisa to stay, but suddenly, other visitors come into the room, and Saki yeets Naoya out of there. When Nagisa is about to walk away, Saki asks her to talk about it, which Nagisa agrees to do. She talks about how, as a person, she always screws things up, and because how bad she is at everything, it takes time for her to get average at anything. She always wished to one day find something that she was good at, and everything changed for her when she met Naoya, the love of her life. Nagisa first encountered him when he was telling Saki about his feelings, and when Nagisa heard about how Naoya has been doing this for years, she was touched by his determination. She saw a fighting spirit in Naya that she never had, and it made her wish she was the same. Days later, Nagisa was looking for her name on the announcement board, and when she saw that she was accepted, she wondered if Naoya was the same. She clocked him with Saki, still refusing to give up, and it made Nagisa fold to how persistent he was as a person. But when Naoya stared back at her, Nagisa ran away. She decided to become a person that would make Naoya fall in love, so she started training herself, starting from cooking, working out, and getting jobs so she could have money for her self-care. From then on, Nagisa becomes a better person, and it is because of her love for Naoya. She tells Saki that her dream is to continue being by his side, but unbeknownst to them, Naoya is listening from next door. Then, Nagisa asks Saki not to tell Naoya about her past, but when they step out, Naoya is there, assuring her that the lazy scrub that she was is gone, and that the new her is amazing. Embarrassed, Nagisa runs away from them, and they chase after her, trying to calm her down. They run past Rika and Shino, and they also chase after them. Nagisa expresses how she's okay being his second choice after Saki, but Naoya assures her that he loves both of them equally. Being well-conditioned, Nagisa is too fast for Naoya, causing him to fall to the ground, unable to keep up. However, Naoya gets back up, saying how she's an idiot for only wanting to be number 2, and Nagisa admits that deep down, she also wants to be his number 1. After hours of running, they reach the pier, and Nagisa expresses how she's scared of losing him, but Naoya apologizes, saying how if Nagisa is content with being number 2, he can't fulfill his promise to make them both happy by dating him. He jumps down from a high fence, and with the power of love, he lands safely. Nagisa tries to run again, but Naoya hugs her and tells her that when he dated both of them, it has given him happiness to the highest level, and that he has never regretted his decision to love them both. She asks him what if Saki gets tired of their relationship, and Naoya tells her that he will beg her every day if he has to, as long as they stay together. Just then, Saki and the rest catch up, and Shino demands an explanation of their relationship. While Saki struggles to answer, Nagisa confidently shows Shino that she loves Naoya, and to prove it, she kisses his cheek in front of them. With full conviction, Nagisa tells them she is also Naoya's number 1 lover, and after hearing her words, Saki declares a friendly war on Nagisa on who gets to be Naoya's number 1 lover, which Nagisa accepts. Just then, Saki tells Shino they are in a 3-way relationship, and the trio quickly runs away from them before they get to say anything. With the confession finally out, the trio spends their trip together, with both girls acting equally as Naoya's lover. Days after the trip, Shino invites them to her place, and she interrogates them about the details of their relationship. She expresses to Naoya how disappointed and disgusted she is with him and asks him why he pursues this relationship. Naoya simply tells her that his heart is so greedy, it decided that it wants to date both of them at the same time. Without much choice, Shino asks Naoya for assurance that he can make them both happy, and he tells Shino that he is so committed, he made plans to talk to Saki's mother about this, and is now asking Shino for her blessing as she is Saki's best friend. After seeing his determination, Shino's heart skipped a beat, and she felt an emotion for him that she shouldn't have. When they go back home, they leave Shino alone, heartbroken as she was the one who loved him, and now she wants to destroy their relationship. The next day, they have lunch together like usual, and when Rika pops up to join them, she holds Naoya for herself, but unlike before, Nagisa refuses to stand down, so she also holds him. Not wanting to be left behind, Saki joins in and holds him. Just then, Shino pops up from the window, scolding him for adding Rika to his harem and creating a situation that any man would love to experience. Comment down below, 1 glizzy, 4 baddies, if you finished the video and want a recap of Season 2.